Hello, everyone. It's Kenlyn, and this is your transmission for the new moon in Aquarius happening on February 9th. This is a big new moon. It's a big initiatory portal. And for some of you, your life will never be the same. And you just got chills when I said that. So that's for you. For all of us, our lives are never going to be the same. But this new moon will be initiatory for some people. It's a huge new moon. We have Mercury, the sun, the moon, and Pluto all in Aquarius. And this is the first new moon in Aquarius where Pluto is also in Aquarius. So what an incredible time to kick off Aquarian energy. And I've done some other YouTube videos that talk about Aquarian energy and what the opportunities are for us spiritually. I'm declaring that this is the evolutionary transit that's going to launch the archetype of the evolutionary feminine leader. And that's because feminine gifts are incredibly needed at this time, and they're understated. There isn't, in this culture, we don't prize and value feminine gifts, like the gift of listening. And if you caught my transmission, Gene Key 13 is where the sun and the moon are today of this, the day of this transmission, and they'll be there until the 8th of February. And so we're in this frequency of understanding one of the greatest feminine superpowers, and that is the power of listening. It has the ability to heal, transform. It has the ability to purify the past and get rid of old baggage and send it off to the void. And let's talk about the void. That void is the new moon. So we're in a void going into the new moon of the darkness of possibility. And I love that because Pluto in Aquarius is going to reinvent us. But at first, Pluto destroys. And we were talking about that today in the sisterhood activation. I had to take a deep breath there because it's huge in an area of your life where Pluto rules the Aquarius house in your chart, and everybody has that. You're up for a remake. You're up for a reinvention. And that's exciting, except for the part where Pluto has to destroy before it reinvents. And we might all have weird symptoms right now. Like some people were saying they just don't feel inspired. Other people feel incredibly scattered. Other people got like clear direction, just like boom, landed on one day. And they went off into a whole different direction. Whereas before they were weighing things, going back and forth. I don't know. So this time is going to be a huge time of initiating you in a whole new direction. And that direction, chances are, has been something that you've already been working on. And that's where Chiron is conjunct the North Node. Remember, the North Node is in Aries. Remember, South Node in Libra. I got to do a video on that because I love North Node, South Node stuff. Some of you, if you are, let's see, probably in your mid 50s, your North Node is Aries. And so you're experiencing your nodal return, maybe 55, 56. So it's a huge time for you. It's a whole reinvention time. I just went through my nodal return and it's huge. It's an 18-month period. So the North Node, our future, is in Aries, and the what else is in Aries? Chiron's in Aries. And I love Chiron, the wounded healer. We all get our Chiron return when we turn 50. I've done a video on that, very old video. It's about how you revisit your old wounds, because Chiron is the wounded healer. So you go back and revisit your old wounds and really clear them once and for all. And the story of Chiron is that he was this wisdom holder and healer, but he could not heal himself. And that's what makes us incredible healers, because we carry the wound, and carrying the wound keeps us humble, keeps us real, keeps us empathetic, keeps us like always searching for new answers, new possibilities. So when Chiron is conjunct this north node, there's something where we're going, right? This is the future, where we're going, that has us get a healing, like something that we've been working on, because we know that healing is incremental. And so there's something around your self-concept, who you think you are, your leadership, your ability to be seen and heard. Maybe it's you're speaking your truth. It could also be the unearthing of a truth that you really, a while ago knew. It came to you and you've been churning with it because you're just not ready. You weren't ready at the time to act on it. Maybe it was something where you knew that you needed to move or leave your job or leave your partner. Those are big things. And you just don't go like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks. And I'm off on my way. There's some grieving. There's some fear that comes up. Like, really, is that really what I'm going to do? And then you go like, no, I'm not going to do it. But then the thing doesn't go away, or it just keeps nagging at you, or, there's a deeper soul cry in there that says, yeah, but you can't go forward with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with it, or maybe it isn't bad. It's just that you're not going forward with it. That takes us a while to get used to. And so that may be coming a true fruition where now you're strong enough to actually make that decision. And you can look at, where does Aquarius hit in your chart? Every house is owned by a sign, and everyone has a house that's ruled by Aquarius. So whatever house that is, that may be the area where you're experiencing this transformation. And it's disruptive, because Aquarius energy is disruptive energy, right? It's outside the norm. And oh my gosh, the other thing that's here that I got really inspired to share is Uranus. Uranus just went direct. And now Uranus is squaring the sun and the moon. And that is a deeper desire for freedom. I have this in my natal chart. I have a T-square, and the sun, moon, and Uranus all square each other. Not fun, except, and here's the thing, it's not fun, that it doesn't make life easy, but it also has me accomplish things because I have to work for it. Like if we didn't have struggle and challenge, we wouldn't do it. So I have to be grateful. I get to be grateful for the ways that the sun and the moon and Uranus square each other, but it's the sun being your external self, the moon being your internal self, and Uranus being this great awakener, and it just wants to be free. So your healing could have been around some area like that you got reconciled to a truth, and that truth you're now ready to accept because it's going to lead into your freedom. That's what I'm getting for myself. We have a lot of Aries energy, so we have leadership energy, we have like sovereignty energy, we have I'll do it myself energy. That's what we're really meant to do right now. We will come into transits and we will come into like a north node in Pisces. It's going to be a very different flavor. But right now we really have to get that we're being initiated into our true self. We're not going to stay here as a culture, as a community. We have to move on, but we can't move on until this piece is handled. So we have the cosmic energies that are supporting us to be our unique, authentic, self-expressed version of ourselves. And that means listening, Gene Key 13, you can watch the transmission on that, but it means like listening to your deeper soul calling. And, you can listen and listen and listen. And then at some point you make an action. because that's what's going to happen. You don't have to act before the time is right, but you will have a time when it's either super uncomfortable to stay where you are, or you just, it locks in and you know. So if you've taken on too much, or you're being responsible for things that are not yours, this Uranus opposition, this square is going to just break things up. But here's the thing, don't resist change. Now, we can wait for the right moment, and at the same time, we can also resist, which means that I argue against the way the tide is turning. And instead, I get alongside the tide. I'm having those critical conversations, maybe with my partner or my boss. It might be like step by step, where I just walk the paces, but there's a part of my intuition that knows where I'm going, but I'm not leaping over any of the paces. Your discernment, and this is where Gene Key 13 comes in the gift frequency, is when we move out of feeling burdened by everything or feeling pessimistic about our lives, we step into the gift energy, and that is to be discerning. And that means discerning on what's really yours, what's true for you. It's discernment about, that was the old me, or that was my old desire, or even if it was a good one, and who I am now is wanting to go in this direction. It's being discerning about what your shadow material is, and to not project it onto other people. There's a whole teaching in that I would love to give at some point, because these kinds of tools and skills are for evolutionary feminine leaders, and they're going to be incredibly important as we move forward. Right now, we're really nailing listening to what's true for us. All right, so I think let me just say a little bit more about Chiron, the wounded healer, and what might be moving you into a new initiation on this new moon. And that could be that there's some level of self-love as well, that before you didn't have, and now you have. I was talking to a client, and she was telling me that when she got married to this person, there was a level of self-love that she didn't have. She knew this person was a narcissist, but there was a trade-off, and there was a child involved, and there were some things. There was a math equation done, right? And also just the tuning into the truth in that moment. We can't beat ourselves up for those past decisions, because they were made with the self that made them. So the most honoring thing to do is really honor that I made that decision. It was right for me then. How do I know? Because I made that decision. That's totally honoring. And now she's saying it's not right for me anymore. And I'm not surprised, because Chiron has healed her self-image. She's gone through so much to peel off the layers. And also this Uranus opposition is saying, yeah, but I want to be free. And what do I want to be free to do? I want to be free to be who I really am. I want to be free to be self-expressed. So chances are you've gotten a healing. Maybe there were parts of you that you abandoned, like being in a relationship that wasn't quite nurturing or even good or kind or anything. There are parts that we have to self-abandon. We have to put them on a shelf for later. And part of this Chiron in the North Node is saying, we need all of you. We need to reclaim all of you to move forward. And part of the evolutionary feminine leader archetype is the feminine reclamation. We need to reclaim the feminine gifts. And frankly, we don't even know what they all are. And that's what we're here to, as a community, tune in and bring forth. And this Gene Key 13 will help us enormously. And again, see that video if you don't know what I'm talking about, the gene keys, because there's a frequency that's happening right now that if you tap into will help you go deeper with this new moon transmission. So let's kind of wrap it up with a few things. This new moon is a big start. For some people, it's going to be a game changer. For all of us, we're going to go into game changers, but particularly for some people in this new moon in Aquarius. The question is, what are you moving towards? What are you creating? What's really true for you now? And when you get silent, what gets louder? So try that out as your new moon experiment. When you get silent, what gets louder? Now, we also want to remember that this energy of Aquarius, where we have the sun, the moon, and we have Pluto, and we have Mercury, is going to bring us some insights into knowing what is being demolished in order to be rebirthed. That's Pluto energy. So we're stepping into on this Lunar New Year, Asian New Year, the year of the wood dragon. And I want to read you something from the wood dragon. I don't really follow a lot of Chinese animals. I do for fun because I'm a fire horse and I think it's really cool and I love it. But here's the thing. So the year of the dragon, the Chinese New Year, celebrated on February 10th. I'll say the Asian New Year because it's also celebrated outside of China. And the wood dragon, it's a delivered Beatlemania and the US Civil Rights Movement in 1964. So I love this fable that goes with the wood dragon, or goes with the dragon. It was how the emperor, the Jade Emperor, determined the sequence of the 12 animals. So an emperor said, these are the sequence of the 12 animals. So the honorable qualities of the dragon, he's the 5th sign in the zodiac. He stopped to help the other creatures of Earth rather than easily cross the finish line. So if you're born under the year of the wood dragon, you are a way shower. So that's really just showing the magnanimity of the dragon energy. And I love that because a lot of people are talking about the dragon energy as this fierce. And I think it is a fierce energy because Pluto in Aquarius is going to destroy some things. So we're going to be fierce about that destruction. But there's also this beauty in that what's being rebirthed is this way shower. You're here to dream up a better world. So let's imagine that this year, this initiation point of this new moon is bringing us into the archetype of the evolutionary feminine leader, who is the way shower. And this way shower is here to dream up a better world. And you have the vigor and the drive to roll up your sleeves and get the job done. Yes, Aquarian leaders, feminine Aquarian leaders, thank you, thank you. I so see you and appreciate you because this is your time and this is your new moon. Do a ritual about what you're letting go of. I know that's not a new moon thing, but this isn't a Pluto thing. And what are you stepping into? What is calling you forward? What gets loud when you get silent? I'll see you on the next video.